You're listening to the Stellar Life Project podcast. My name is Deborah Stellingwerf. I'm obsessed with systems and strategies to help you create a sustainable lifestyle and still enjoy optimal success on your terms in your career or business. The Stellar Life Project is about how we can make a difference in the world, first for ourselves and then for others. I've had successful careers in education and business before my hyperachiever, perfectionist tendencies led me to such extreme burnout that I woke up to find both my health and my marriage in crisis. On my journey to find a better way, I created the Stellar Life Project, which led me to create a coaching business that supports others on their path to establishing a sustainable lifestyle, doing the work they love, and generating the income they want. In this podcast, I share from my experience as business owner and coach, and I host conversations with inspiring leaders and business owners to give you the tried and true strategies to help you expand and create your own stellar life. Hello, friends. Welcome to this very first episode of the Stellar Life Project podcast. I am your host, Deborah Stellingwerf. I'm a master teacher and certified coach. And let me tell you, I am so excited to be here finally recording this podcast. It was an idea that I had in the back of my mind for a while, but I was working on some other projects and waiting for the time to be ripe. And the time is now. And so I'm really, really excited to be here. Thank you so much for tuning in and listening. I thought in this first episode, it would be a great time to tell you a little bit about what the Stellar Life Project is all about and how I got here and a little bit of my story. So I am obsessed with systems and strategies to help you create a sustainable lifestyle while still enjoying optimal success in your career and or business. For a long time, I bought into the myth that in order to be successful, it had to be stressful. And I pushed myself to burnout, as many of my listeners and my clients have done as well. And so when I set out to find a better way, I called it the Stellar Life Project. So I thought I would take some time to flesh that out for you today and share what the Stellar Life Project is, and what this podcast is going to be about. And along the way, I'll tell you a bit about my own story. So the Stellar Life Project, I wish I could remember exactly how that title came to be. It started off actually the title of a blog that I was writing when I was going through a time of transition and trying to figure out what to do with my life. I was burnt out and worn out, and I was really not happy and living outside of my zone of genius and really trying to get back into it. And I'm a teacher and I am a creative and I love learning. And when I learn something, I need to share it, which is really the best definition of a teacher, I think, is someone who has a lifelong love of learning and is compelled to share what they learn. And so I had learned so much from my time in business that I decided, well, the best way for me to kind of energize myself again in this time of burnout was to share what I had learned. And so I started a blog. I called it the Stellar Life Project. Again, it was one of those titles that came to me in the middle of the night. So not sure exactly how it all came together, but it's so perfect because you may have noticed that the phrase, the Stellar Life Project, has a play and a connection to my name, Stellingwerf. Nobody can ever spell Stellingwerf, so I often come up with plays on stellar for my projects and things I'm working on. And so that was part of it, but it was so much more. The Stellar Life, the idea of a stellar life had to do with this feeling that I had that I was really constricted and that I needed to expand and grow more into myself again. I had gone down a path that I'll tell you about more in later episodes, I think, but I'd gone down a path that wasn't right for me and I felt constrained and that I wasn't really being fully myself. So I really had this sense that expansion was necessary in order to kind of free myself. And I came across this idea of the Hubble theory, which is the Big Bang theory. The technical official name for it is the Hubble theory. And the notion is that the universe is constantly expanding. And it made sense to me. It clicked that when we are constantly expanding into our best version of ourselves, into who we are capable of becoming, then we're in harmony with the universe. And when we're not being our best selves, we're not living in what I'll call our zone of genius, and I'll explain that more in a moment, we are out of alignment and we're out of harmony. And that's when we get off kilter, and people come to me as a coach and say, I just want more balance. And they're partly right. They're looking for balance, but generally they're looking for a lot more. They're looking for harmony and alignment, and being in harmony with the expansion of the universe means expanding into that fullness of yourself. A stellar life is also an inspired life, that you're doing things that energize you. It's not just growth for growth's sake and struggle. When I first started the project, I did a lot of that, where I used personal growth, kind of a weapon against myself, that I'm like, I got to work really hard to grow and become and live my best life, darn it. And, I've really shifted to this place where it's an inspired life of expansion, and there is no struggle. We can easily take that struggle from that myth that success equals stress and struggle and strife, and bring it into this growth. And it's a real, the Stellar Life Project really is about separating that and coming from a place of ease and flow and oneness with ourselves and with the universe and the world, and really tapping into ourselves and our relationship to the greater whole of humanity and the planet and everything else it is to be human. The stellar life is a life of expanding in abundance, expanding in success and creativity and love for yourself and others every day as you inspire others to do the same. And I started the Stellar Life Project for myself because I felt really, as I said, stuck, and I needed to get out of it. And there was a remarkable book that changed my life, and I was supposed to have a copy of it here. Can we pause that real quick and just grab the book out of my knapsack? Yeah. Remarkable book. I want to make sure I stay on that. Okay, here we go. So at a time when I was feeling really stuck, and this remarkable book came across my radar, and I wish I could thank the woman who introduced it to me. It was just a Facebook Live in a group that I was in. I never found the live again. Don't know who the woman was. And she was speaking about how this book, and if you're just listening, I am holding up the book, The Big Leap by Dr. Gay Hendricks. And this woman was so excited about the book and the impact it had on her. And I happen to be between books. I read a lot. You'll hear me talking about the books I read on this podcast and the inspiration I have taken from those books that have helped me to expand. But this one changed my life in a really profound way. I often ask my guests what their favorite book is, or a book that had a real impact on them. And this is my answer to that question. And the central question to The Big Leap is, how much time are you spending in your zone of genius? And I realized, that's what's wrong with me. That's why I feel like laying on the floor all the time. I'm just not in my zone of genius. Now, hold up, because you may have thought, when you heard that idea of zone of genius, you may have said to yourself, well, I'm not a genius. This isn't for me. I went there too. And let me be clear that it's not about being a genius. I'm not Einstein. And you probably aren't either, because there's only one. But it's about being in your zone of genius, in that place where you are energized and inspired and you are living fully realized in your gifts. You're using your gifts to their highest, best use for your benefit and for the benefit of everybody else that you get to impact. And so my zone of genius is teaching, and I was working in real estate at the time, and real estate's a really important profession for other people to do. I got to do some teaching in that, but it wasn't enough for me. And so I was feeling kind of thwarted and stunted that I wasn't using my gifts after having been a high school English teacher for 15 years and really living fully in my zone. I used to have a conversation with my husband about if we won $1 million, I think we'd have to win more than $1 million now, but if you had $1 million, that kind of, if you won the lottery, what would you do? And I was like, I would still go to work, probably part-time, but I would still go to work because I loved my job that much. And so when I left teaching, it wasn't because I was dissatisfied or looking for something else. It was actually a minor car accident that made it really impossible for me to do the physical aspects of the job. And you might be wondering, what are the physical aspects of a English teacher's job? It's the handwriting. And there was a lot of it because I was an IB, English Literature and Theory of Knowledge teacher. And if you don't know what the IB program is, look it up. It's an advanced program. There's a lot of handwriting for whoever's teaching it. And so because of this injury, I wasn't able to do that. And it was really taking a toll on my health because I was tired all the time. I was in pain all the time. And other people's kids are kind of annoying when you're in pain all the time. And I was becoming one of those teachers who was kind of grumpy and a little bit miserable. And I didn't want to be that person. And so I left that profession and tried something else. And I did what I always tell my clients not to do. I just threw myself into something. I didn't stop and say, hey, do I like this? Does this energize me? Now, I have no regrets because that's how I tend to do things. I tend to be someone who makes decisions quite quickly when they're big decisions like that. I follow my gut, and it led me absolutely in the right direction. So though real estate didn't allow me to really fully use my gifts as a teacher in the way that, say, coaching does now, or because this is why I'm here doing this podcast, because I'm coaching and I can't help myself but wanting to teach what I'm learning and what I have learned. But if I hadn't gone down that path, I wouldn't be the business coach that I am today. I coach around business and lifestyle strategy because I've experienced it all. And, that's why we're here, is because I had that path. So there are no wrong choices. And that's something I had to learn because I'm a recovering perfectionist, ladies and gentlemen. And as perfectionists, we like to make ourselves wrong all the time. And what I've learned is there really is no wrong. There are no dead ends. No matter what path you take, it's going to lead you somewhere. You're going to get some kind of results. And I'm so thankful for my time in real estate. And I'll share with you, learn from my experience. I wouldn't say my mistakes. Learn from my experience that sometimes you can save yourself some time. And that's my goal with the Stellar Life Project podcast, is to save you some time by sharing what I've learned along my journey and adding my voice to your list of trusted advisors, if you will. The Stellar Life Project podcast is going to be a combination of me sharing what I've learned, resources I've gathered, tools that I found have worked for me and the clients that I work with. And I will also invite guests to share with you their experiences. I have a list of guests that are super inspiring people, and I can't wait for you to meet them because they have chosen to live a life of expansion. And in their choosing to expand, they are inspiring so many people. They're impacting so many people. And I hope that you will be the next person that they impact because they have taken the step to expand. And that's even my goal here. It was not unscary. Yes, I'm an English teacher and I'm not even sure that's a word, but it was a little bit scary to start this podcast and put myself out there. But I feel so committed to this life of expanding and pushing my limits that I chose to do it in hopes that me stepping out and expanding my limits and my comfort zone will inspire you to do the same. That's what the Stellar Life Project podcast is about. And the guests that you will meet are doing that. They're having an impact in their worlds. They are expanding and stepping outside of their comfort zones. And as a result, they are inspiring other people to do the same. And I am absolutely convinced that when we expand, we will inspire others to do the same. In fact, that is the mantra of the Stellar Life Project, is to expand in abundance, success, creativity, and love every day so that we can inspire others to do the same. And together we'll make the world a better place. So I have written some objectives of the Stellar Life Project. It's kind of funny. I was thinking about, I call it a project and it makes it sound like work maybe to some of you, but I'm a teacher. So I think in those terms of projects, and it's not a project that you'll ever be finished. It's a project that when you sign on for it, you sign on for the Stellar Life Project. It's a lifelong journey of learning and growing and expanding. And I remember once I said to one of my coaches, "Is this happening again? I can't believe I'm still dealing with this issue. I've come back around on it." And she said, "What did you expect? That's life. You're going to keep coming back and learning those lessons and growing a little bit more. It's a little bit different each time, but you keep growing." And another one of my mentors said, if we hope to be in a place where everything's easy and we're not growing anymore and we don't have to have growing pains anymore, those are dead people's goals. So the Stellar Life Project is not a project you'll ever finish, but let me tell you, it's a project if you're willing to take it on and adopt it as a way of life, it's going to make your life richer, more expansive, more energizing. And that's what I want for you. So what I did is I came up with a list of objectives in good teacher fashion for the Stellar Life Project. And you can take or leave whichever ones of these that you want. And there's a place you can have a link to the blog post on my site where these are actually written out for you. Put those in the show notes. But let me read this to you. And here we go. So here are the objectives of the Stellar Life Project. Your mission, should you choose to accept it, is to have less stress, more ease, less struggle, more flow, less busy, more balance, less hustle, more freedom, less deprivation, more enjoyment, less perfection, more play. Shout out to Emma on that one. Less time pressure, more time freedom. Less shoulds, more passion, purpose, and honesty. Less bullshit, more boundaries. Less chaos, more harmony. Less fear, more courage. Less doubt, more self-confidence. Less scarcity, more abundance. Less self-judgment, more self-love. Those, my friends, are the objectives of the Stellar Life Project. I hope you will decide to get on board with me and make this your project too, so that you too can expand in abundance, success, creativity, and love every day. And together we will change the world one stellar life at a time. Are you with me?